Yeah, my parts came early, so I'm gonna go ahead and be working on my truck today. We got all our parts in from 16 plugs, some dielectric grease, anti-seize, little secret weapon that I was recommended to use. We're gonna be taking care of, that's right, spark plugs. Everyone has been warning me about that plug right there, all the way in the back where you can't see anything. That's what that secret weapon is for. Let's see how this mission goes. And I gotta do the same thing over here. Got step one done. Took off the air box. Now we could see down up in here. I disconnected the battery just because I had to clean it, but I have all the coils disconnected, about to start taking them off. I'm starting with the rough side first. I was just cleaning off the battery posts on my truck, and it actually makes it a little bit safer for me since I have a remote start and I didn't want to risk it starting while I was doing the job. So as you can see with this socket, right now I'm just removing the air box on the top. It's a pretty easy job. It's just a couple bolts and it has a little snap push thing on the inside that kind of snugs it down. It's pretty quick, pretty easy to do. Once you get it off, you're able to have all kind of room to work in. I went ahead right away and just started taking off these coils. Reaching in the back, I was just loosening it up. Once they get open, I mean, the bolts come off real easy. You're able to just take them off with your hands. Since it didn't have much resistance on the bolts, the ratchet was kind of useless once it was going. So I would just take the socket off and just use my fingers to take this thing down. The back area was fairly accessible. Everything was pretty easy to get to. I hear a lot of complaints about this job, and I've heard horror stories, but I really got to tell you that that little socket extension that we got from our brother at the other video, his page is Boosted Motorsports, and the name of the video is pretty simple. It's just how to change Hemi spark plugs 5.7 Hemi DIY. I really recommend watching his video. He even has a link to the Amazon page where you can pick up that socket that I keep mentioning about. It made it extremely easy, and if you watch his video you can actually see why it makes it easy, and he's not lying. The clearance is exactly what you need to be able to put your ratchet in there, take it off, put it in, maneuver it, and I was even able to put my torque wrench in there with hardly any issues. I think the worst part about it was actually trying to detach the torque wrench from the actual socket when I was going to pull it out, just because it just made it easier for me to just skip to the next spark plug and start taking that one off. Clearance wise, I mean, you can see I have fairly big arms, and my hands aren't that small, and I was able to just put my hand right back there, torque wrench right back there. Anyone that's really thinking about doing this job, I highly recommend doing it yourself. I called my local auto parts store slash shop, and they were quoting me close to $500 to do this job. It's ridiculous. I mean, I think in parts I literally spent about $50, and that was including the socket and the spark plugs, and it took me an hour and a half to do the job. And that's just because I was being, careful, and I was going slow and taking my sweet time with it, making sure everything got done right. I didn't want to rush the job and end up breaking something. And I mean, literally I torqued everything, double checked everything, put everything back the exact same way that it had to be done, and it still only took me about an hour and a half to do. I recommend you guys trying to knock it out. Don't pay those outrageous shop fees. By all means, don't put yourself in a situation where you're gonna break something and have to spend a whole lot more money. If you know for a fact that you're not, one of these people that could just, do a repair and fix things, then by all means pay a shop, especially if you want the warranty. All right, we went ahead and tackled the hard one. Just one side has been done so far. Look at those plugs. See that right there? That's what it's supposed to be at. You see all that extra play? That is not supposed to have a gap that big. Alright, this is a side-by-side comparison. That's what gap it's supposed to be at, and that's what gap it's at. That's how large the electrode's supposed to be, and that's how worn out they are. Alright, she's all put back together. Everything plugged back in. "16 plugs, baby. And not one close to the gap it's supposed to be at." I really like to thank all you brothers that actually post videos on there. I only did this to add to the many videos that are already out there of people that are thinking about doing it. This is just so I could encourage you to go ahead and try to tackle it yourself. I'm currently sitting here just editing the video and putting these things in. I'm gonna add a link to the video that I mentioned, and he actually has a link to the Amazon page where you can get the socket. If you got a Hemi, that's a must. I mean, you need that in your toolbox. Check out his video, check out my video. You can see how easy I did it. And hey, my brother, hopefully it'll save you a whole lot of more money. You guys have a good time. Do it yourself. Save that cash. Use it to buy more toys.